Hi everyone, I'm Kadar Shine. Power BI is one of the most in-demand skills in 2025. This video is a quick Power BI tutorial for beginners. You'll learn all the essentials. In this video, you'll learn everything you need to get started with Power BI in 2025. We'll begin with the basics. What is Power BI and why it's such a powerful business intelligence tool? The deep understanding concept of Power BI. Then, we'll explore the 5 essential layers of Power BI: Power Query for connecting and cleaning data, data modeling to build relationships, DAX formulas for smart calculations, visualizations to create interactive dashboards, and sharing to publish your work online. You'll also learn how to install Power BI Desktop, import and clean datasets, create calculated columns like revenue, and explore the Power BI interface. After that, we'll build a complete dashboard from scratch, including a title section, KPI cards, charts, maps, slicers, and dynamic filters. Plus, I'll show you how to use Power BI's built-in AI to analyze data patterns and how to share your final dashboard through Power BI Service, Microsoft Teams, or email. By the end of this video, you'll have hands-on experience and a fully working dashboard to impress your team or clients. Let's get started. Now let's talk about Power BI. What is Power BI? It's a very powerful reporting tool by Microsoft used for business intelligence, where various data is collected from different sources and it's converted into clear, visually interactive, and engaging insights or dashboard reports for the business. So now let's understand deeply from the top and exactly what is Power BI. Now in every company, the managers will ask critical business questions, which regions are underperforming, and many other questions. And now in order to make smart decisions, they're going to ask you, the data analysts, to find the answers using data. And in order to do that, you need tools like Power BI. So now what you're going to do, you're going to go and connect the company's data to the Power BI. And after that, you're going to go and start preparing the data for the analysis, like cleaning up the data, doing a few calculations. And then after that, you're going to go and build the visuals. So you're going to go and build the reports and the dashboards. And once you have them, you're going to go and present the results to the managers as you are telling a story behind the data. And with that, you are helping the managers to make quick, smart, and better decisions for the business. So that means we use Power BI in order to turn the raw and clean data into beautiful and easy to understand visuals that can help the managers to make better decisions. Okay, so now the next question is, what is inside Power BI? Well, we have 5 layers, or let's say 5 engines. Let's start with the first one. We have the Power Query. So now always the first task in Power BI is to connect our data. So we use the Power Query in order to connect multiple source types like databases, API, and files. And now this connected new data to Power BI is usually not clean. So in real projects, we cannot go and immediately like to build visualizations on top of it. We have to clean the data first using Power Query. So we can remove unnecessary columns, remove nulls, rename the columns, filter the rows, and many other things. So that means with this layer, we are connecting and cleaning up the data. Now, once we have that, then we go to the next engine or layer and we call it the data modeling. Now that your data is clean, it's time to organize it. So in this layer, you're going to go and build relationships between tables. You're going to try to build your star schema where you have in the middle your fact table and surround it with multiple dimensions. This is very important in order to have fast dashboards and correct results. Once we have the data model, it's time to add now like brain or let's say intelligence to this model. And we use DAX in order to write formulas and calculations to create something new. So we need to create new columns, new measures that can help us to build the aggregations and the filters at the dashboard level. And this is really what is turning our data into answers. Now, once you have all your calculations, we move to the fourth layer. We have the visualization. So now it's time to build the charts, the cards, tables, slicers, and add some bookmarks, drill through, and many other cool stuff. So we are now building the report or the dashboard that is telling a story. This is the only thing that the managers are going to see. Everything else, all the other layers, they are just pre-steps in order to come to this phase. So the end users will not see the data model or the docs and the calculations. All those stuff are behind the scenes, and your user is going to see only the dashboards and the charts. Now we're going to move to the sharing layer. So now it's time to publish and share our work with others. So we might go and share it, for example, in Power BI Premium. It's like a cloud service from Power BI where the users can open their browser and access your dashboards. So this is the end-to-end process and the 5 layers that you go through in order to build professional dashboards in Power BI. let's dive into the practical. To get started, we'll need to install Power BI Desktop. It's free and gives you everything you need to build reports from scratch. So let's get into it. The first step, if you haven't installed Power BI on your desktop already, I have provided the Power BI download link in the video description. Open the link and navigate to the Download for Free button. This is the free version, and click on the download button and install it on your machine. Then open the Power BI application. This is how the Power BI user interface looks. The next step is importing a dataset. It lets you import data, build dashboards, and publish reports. Then there's also the Power BI Report Builder, but that's more specialized and limited in features. When you first launch Power BI Desktop, you'll see this home screen. Right up on top, you can start from a blank report or connect to common data sources like blank report, OneLake catalog, Excel workbook, SQL server, and also other sources. And for this, we've got this Excel dataset, which is basically for Coca-Cola's retailers. Keep in mind, these are made up, but you can see that we've got a ton of information ranging from the region, the beverage brands that they're selling, and some financial information as well. You can download this dataset for free in the video description. So let's head over to Power BI. Once here, you're going to want to import the data from Excel. I'm just going to select the relevant one for me. Once that loads up, you'll be greeted with the navigator, and if you click on the data, which is the sheet that we're interested in, you're going to be able to preview it over here. And now you simply want to click on this tick sign, and now you're going to activate these load and transform data buttons. The load icon is simply going to load this up into Power BI, while the transform icon is going to allow you to manipulate the data a bit. So that's what we're going to do. And this is going to open Power Query for us. Here in Power Query, you can see the data set that we're working with, and we'd like to make a few different changes. So first, for the month here, you can see that we have it currently as a number, but we'd also like it in text. So January, February, and so on. Now for that, we can simply click on the date column here. We're going to go over to add column 5, so we can add a new column there. And down under this data drop down over here, we're going to want to select the month, and more specifically, we're going to want the name of the month. Now, if we hover over all the way to the end, you can see that we have all of that automatically generated. Another thing that would be nice is if we have the price per unit and we've got the units sold, or we can calculate the revenue, which is the multiplication of that. So we're going to go under add column again and click on custom columns here, and let's go ahead and call this something like revenue, which is simply going to be equals to, like we mentioned, the price per unit multiplied by the units sold. And we're going to hit on OK Quams. And you can see that's generated as well. Up top, you might have noticed that we've got these icons over here. This is basically going to define the format of your text. So is it a number? Is it in text? And so on. So let's just click on that one, and what we're going to want is simply going to be a whole number. There you go. You can see over here to the right where we have the AWA applied steps. This is basically tracking all of the steps that we've taken. If you go back one, you'll notice that it's going to reformat it. So just make sure you stay on the last one unless you want to go back. Once we're happy with these changes, we can simply go over to the Home tab and hit on Close and Apply. And this is going to apply these changes to Power BI. Moving on to step 2, navigating Power BI. Now let's talk about the Power BI user interface. At the top, you'll see the menu bar with options like Save, Add Columns, and more. Just below that is the ribbon with all your tool icons, and on the right side, you'll find the visualization pane, followed by the data pane. The center area is called the canvas, where you build your reports. And at the bottom, you can switch between desktop and mobile views, or navigate through report pages just like Excel sheets. You can see right now that we don't actually have anything. This is what's known as the report view. And this is where you would have any kind of a dashboard or a visual. As you can see, you have the visualization options to the side, but more on that later. Then on the second part here, click on that. That's data view. This is basically where we're going to be able to preview all of our data and make any kind of changes that we might want. As you can see, if you click on a number, you're going to see a ton of different options up over here. And then to the right of that, you have all of the different columns that you currently have available. And finally, on this last view here, which is the part model view, is where you'd be able to link it with different data sets. Right now, we only have one sheet, so there's nothing really to link here. So we're not going to cover that. So let's go back over to the report view, moving on to part 3, which is going to be building a dashboard. And for that, first, we're going to create a title up top. So I'm simply going to go over to Insert. Under Shapes, I'm going to select this rectangle over here. Let me go ahead and fast forward how I resize this. Great. Let's suppose I'm happy with something like this. Then I'm going to have to change the color of it. So I'm going to go under Setum Style Arc, under Fill Color set here. Click on that, and I'm going to go for a dark blue like this one I have under Recent Colors. If you want to customize your color, you can go to More Colors and change it to whatever you want. Then we're going to want the title inside of this. So we're going to activate this title bus drop down over here. Just hit on, and as a text, let's go ahead and call this something like asterisk sales dashboard asterisk. And you can see it's really small right now, so we'll increase the size to something like, let's say 39. I'm going to make that bold as well, and I'm going to align this to the left, but you can see that it's really to the left, as in we would like a bit of padding there, so we can actually go ahead and add that. Let's suppose I add 15 pixels here in padding. Now you can see what that's looking like. Great. Now that we have the title right below that, we'd like to have 3 different KPIs, some of the key financial measures. In this case, it could be the revenue worth, the quantity sold, and the average price. So for that, we're simply going to go over to this where it says card types and just click on that icon. All of these are the different visuals that Power BI has available for us. I'm simply going to resize this so it just basically aligns over here. And we're going to have 3 different ones. So this first one under data, this is where we're going to be able to select all of the data that we want to be included in this card. This, we're simply going to want the revenue I. So I'm just going to click on that. You'll see that it activates as a field here. And if you want to rename this, you can simply double click. And let's say, for example, just call it revenue instead of sum of revenue. And now we can just Control+C and Control+V to add a second, and same thing goes for the third. Once we've got all 3, we can select all of them. So just by hitting the Control key, you can select all 3 of them. We can change the coloring of this as well. So we'll go over to Format, Your Visual, and the color value is this value, the big one, the 8 million, which we can change to something like a different color. Let's say we go for our dark blue that we've been using. Below that, if we close this drop down under category label, we can change the color of this. This is the revenue powers part. We can change that to something like this blue over here. And hopefully that's looking a bit better. We can also bolden that like so. Great. Now these 2 need to be changed. So we'll change the fields from revenue, second one, let's call it the units sold loss. And this final one, let's go ahead and change this too, and we're going to call this the price per unit. Now, we don't want the sum of price per unit, which is the default here. Instead, what we want is the average rate. So we're going to go over to that drop down and simply select average. There you go. If you want to change the number of decimals, we can simply select on these 2 here, then go under Format Your Visual for the art callout value. Instead of having it as auto, we could do something like adding 2 decimals there. Now that's this part done. And over to the side, it would be nice to see the revenue breakdown by month. For that, we can go ahead and select a stacked column chart, like so. We're going to go ahead and select the month name, and we're also going to tick on the revenue. So let's go ahead and resize this a bit. You might have noticed that one part here that seems a bit odd. The first month is December. So it's actually not in chronological order here. Now, to do so, we can actually change this in the double asterisk data view. So let's go about that. Right now, the month name column here is giving us trouble. That's probably because Power BI is not able to understand that January equals 1, February equals 2, and so on. So what we can do is actually sort it, and we're going to sort it by the month. So by this one over here. That way, it's going to be able to understand which digit is which month. So now when we go back to the report view, we can go ahead and remove the month name SART and simply add it back. And now you can see that it's all in order. Great. Then we can change the color of these columns by going to Format Your Visual E under columns. You can see that we've got this default. Now we're going to change that to this blue over here. One thing that's worth noting about Power BI is that suppose you don't like it as a column chart, you can simply click on any other icon and it's going to automatically change it to that style. So that's one of the nice things here. But for now, let's go back to the column chart. And then right below over here, it would be nice to see something by state or by region. So we can simply select the Anbinai Kanina Map po Swardanar Segular. Then we're going to select the Lai Revenue Ardelil again. But this time around, let's suppose we want it by state. Now we can simply go ahead and resize that. And you can see that right now, these bubbles, which represent the revenue, are quite small. So it's difficult to distinguish a good from a bad. Now to change that, we can go over to Format Your Visual Spark, and under Sububbles bar, here instead of -10, let's say we go for 10. Now, hopefully, we can start to see that Florida here and California seem to be quite strong. Then another thing that would be nice is to have some kind of a zoom in or zoom out button. So we can do that under map settings, under controls, we can turn on zoom buttons. And now you can see that we have this minus and plus sign depending on what we're looking for. Similarly, you can change the look of the map. You can see here that I've changed it to aerial. That's kind of what it looks like. I'm just going to go back to the row view. One factor that we haven't quite accounted for has to do with different brands. So what we could add here is some kind of a slicer by clicking on this icon over here. Let's suppose that we're going to have this up top right next to the title, kind of like so. And here we're going to add all of the different beverage brands. And you can see right now that we can only see Coca-Cola basically because this is way too narrow. So we can actually change the format of this by going to Format Your Visual. Under slicer settings here, instead of a vertical list, we're going to want to get a tile. Now you can see what that's looking like. Let me also go ahead under general and remove the background color. So under effects here, I'm just going to deselect on background. Great. Now, if we click on Coca-Cola, you can see what all of that information looks like. Same thing with Fanta, and the dashboard is going to be fully dynamic. One final feature that's worth mentioning is the built-in AI tool within Power BI. Let's suppose that our manager is asking like, hey, why are the December sales so high for Fanta? Well, you can simply right-click on it and go to analyze and go to explain this increase. That's going to get Power BI to calculate why this increase is happening. And you can see right now that it's telling us, hey, the percentage increase and some of the reasons for it ranging from the types of retailers to the regions and more. Finally, in part 4, we've got sharing and collaborating. So let's suppose that we're happy with this dashboard and how it's looking, and we now simply want to upload it to the web. We can do that by going to first saving it, and then we're going to go over to File, go to Publish, Publish to Power BI, and you might need to sign in here if you haven't already. And I'm simply going to select my workspace as my destination, and this is going to upload it over to the web. So I'm simply going to click on open, and here you can see it's opened the Chrome browser and we can start to play around with it. So it's fully dynamic on here as well. And if you want to share it, we can simply click on the share button. And from here, you're going to see all of the different options of how you can share this, whether it be as a Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, and you can even share this directly in Microsoft Teams or via an email. It really makes collaboration easy. And that's it. You just imported and cleaned data, built your first interactive dashboard, and shared it with the world. If you want to take your Power BI skills to the next level with hands-on practice, be sure to check out our upcoming new videos. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.